episode number 5. What is this even? 5? Yeah, number 5. Let's go. Keep it up. Keep going strong. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. This is the week after. If you're tuning in, not live, this is kind of gives you a little bit of time reference. And I hope everybody is starting to gear up for a fantastic and fun holiday season. Today is December 2023. So we're almost at the end of 2023, which is just wild to think and imagine how quickly things are going by. But hey, 'tis life. We got a great show for you today. I'm going to be talking about an article that I am going to be picking apart at. The New York Times actually launched today, where they state that it is not a good time to buy. And we're going to look as to what their points are, and I will go over my viewpoint on it. That will be factual and truthful for you to get a good perspective on where we're at currently with the market, economy, all that good stuff, and then some other fun stuff throughout this show. So let's get after it. So I had actually other things that I wanted to discuss, but this article kind of took my breath away quite a bit, because this New York Times article came out where should you rent or buy your home? And right now it's actually leaning towards rent now and buy later. So let's kind of go through this article point by point in a top level view way, so that I can give you some perspectives to really start thinking, because this is a massive question, a huge question that a lot of people have on their minds, they're thinking about. And obviously with the lawsuit going on and lawsuits going on in the industry, there's this huge reshuffling of what I'm seeing the public's image is on what we as realtors, what we bring to the table, and the value that we bring. And one of the things that the media got to do better. Can the people hear me now? All right, sorry if you couldn't hear me, but now let's keep going. So the one of the biggest things that I'm starting to see is the media is really, as they always do, they kind of vulture a perspective, and then they all kind of back each other up. And the number one thing they're saying is that we as brokers, as real estate agents, get paid too much money. And you know what? I don't necessarily disagree when it comes to certain case-by-case bases, but everything is a case-by-case basis. You have to look at things in a perspective way. So let me kind of do that. Let me talk about this article so that I can educate you guys to decide if renting or buying is a better decision as it stands today. All right. So as this article goes into the thing, one of the main points that they're pointing out is that many millennials, they're just trying to figure out what to do. Millennials right now are just in a very bad spot, right? The economy just hasn't been really working in their favor. They have been shown that they're not making as much money as they were previous generations, and everything is just tight. And the market, the real estate market, is not working in their favor. So they're just very frustrated. And I think it's a group of people to be focusing in on, because they're a huge growing population. They're your typical first-time home buyers. And one of the things that is happening is that first-time home buying age has actually recently gone up, meaning millennials are renting more and not able to afford homes. And I understand all of the reasons and whatnot, but this is feeding into frustration and some misunderstanding and miscalculation on if it's a good time to rent or to buy. Now, one of the things that they are referencing is obviously everything we've been talking about, right? So you have mortgage rates are extra high, home prices are high, and there's just not much to choose from on the market. Can't disagree with that. One of the points that people are starting to make as to why it is becoming extremely expensive and too expensive to buy a home is this point right here: broker commissions. This is what I'm talking about. They're saying that one of the reasons that homes are so expensive is because brokers get paid too much money. And here is a point that I'm actually starting to see get point more and more, is that broker commissions are significantly higher in the US than they are in other countries. Now, that is true, but the thing that people don't talk about is how we as brokers in the United States operate, and how our general economy of how we built around real estate here in the US, how it's become so much more efficient for buyers and sellers. So here is generally how it's done, not in the United States. There's typically a listing broker. They go to a seller. They say, I will list your house for X amount of price, but they're only paying me, the listing broker, right? And so what happens over there, if, for example, London is a good market. I've been studying it, also Australia. You go to the brokerage, and every single brokerage has their own individual real estate pieces that they're trying to sell. So you actually go to listing agents directly and you say, or listing brokerages, what are your listings you have today? And you have to go and work directly with listing brokers. Now, sure, you're cutting out the buyer's broker, but when you're going to somebody that is incentivized to sell a piece of real estate, the one piece of real estate that they are hired to sell, where do you think their motivations are? And where do you think they're going to try to get you to buy and pay in the price? Do you think they're going to give you real valuable data in regards to how should be priced and how the home value actually, in realistic terms, comps wise? Do you think you're going to get the full perspective? Absolutely not. That actually used to be the way that it was done here in the United States. It was called sub agency. You were a sub agent, a sub client or consumer of the listing broker. And the whole reason that we're in this place today where there's buyer brokers here in the United States is to better watch your interests as a buyer. One of the things that most people don't understand, many things that people don't understand, is that when you hire a broker, by law, we have to give you things that are by law required. First, we have to follow and abide by rules and regulations, and a man. What is the? I'm forgetting the top of mind. We have a well. First off, one the three main things that as a client, what you get is you get loyalty. You know, that thing that Trump always talks about, that he looks for his people and whatnot. We have to, by law, give our clients loyalty. We are lawfully in a duty. We have to give you loyalty and put your interests above ours by law. We have to give you obedience. That means that outside of anything illegal, I have to do what you say. So that means that you, again, are in the front seat and you're in the driver's seat of what we have to do and how we have to abide by. Obviously, we can't go and break the seller's legs if they don't take your offer, but we have to follow your course and what you want to do. And then, of course, there's also confidentiality, like any other agent and client relationship. What you tell us, we cannot tell others. So that is just a kind of baseline, one of the things that you get if you are a client of a broker, of a real estate agent. Code of ethics. I can't believe that's exactly what I was trying. And we have to abide by a code of ethics legally. We cannot discriminate. We cannot do things that many other brokerages probably that are not abiding by these types of rules. They don't have to abide by these specific lawful duties. So when it comes to understanding the value that brokers bring, especially to buyers, it is just insurmountable. Now, on top of that, we are trying to get you the best price. We have to go and we take a look. And because the efficiencies of our market and all of the information is being shared, we know exactly where comps are selling and we're incentivized to make sure that you're buying at the right price. I will say that there are a lot of brokers. There's a ton of real estate agents. And I think where we got into this problem, this pickle, is that I think the quality has actually gone down on average. So it is still your responsibility as the consumer to find the broker that has experience, that knows how to negotiate really well, that has your best interest at heart, that doesn't need your specific sale to pay for their bills. So do the research to make sure you're working with the right broker. But if you're working with the right broker, you have to understand that we are an asset, not an expense. So what we get paid, right? We're not charity workers here. We still get paid for our work. And we only get paid, by the way, when we deliver. So if you agree on the price we tell you, that we go through the whole process, you do the inspection, the piece of real estate appraises out by the bank, all of those things have to happen only for us to get paid. And that could come from years. I've done 4 years worth of tours with clients before I got paid a penny. And that means that, probably dollar per hour that I was getting paid was way down. Now, sure, I've done one and dones before. And, that you have those clients that, kind of are home runs. You show them one place and then they buy the house. Yes, but everything averages out. We are professionals. We are in the business of making you money by making sure that you're buying in the correct way. So make sure that you understand what the true value of a broker is. So next time you're thinking that we are an expense to the transaction, right? You need to really think about that statement and not feed into the media, because it is not everything you hear is not always true. And what we do, our blood, sweat, and tears goes into this. So I'm telling you, I'm begging you to please just understand what value we bring to the marketplace, and also find the right broker that matches well with what you're trying to do. All right. So, kind of getting back into this, kind of, wanted just to touch base on this erroneous statement that we are the higher cost without any kind of explanation. Another thing that they're kind of going over is that, one of the points is that, the prices are kind of defying gravity, because look at how much the interest rate has gone up over the last, year and a half, and prices have still not gone down on houses, when typically that would be the opposite way, right? It gets more expensive to get a loan, so that there's fewer buyers, and that means that stock of inventory, the supply outweighs the demand. That does not happen because sellers, they're calling them stubborn, and they're not willing to give up their house for the price they don't get. But also, the other thing they're not mentioning is sellers don't want, they're all locked into these great mortgages, 3%, right? 2%. I'm locked into a 2% rate right now in an ARM. So there is no reason, unless I am absolutely forced out of my house by necessity, by business moves, where if a company, I hear that Seattle, Amazon is making people come back into the office. So there's people selling their houses all across the country to be moving there to Seattle. But if they're not in that position, they're not going to sell their house, because it is going to become so much more dramatically expensive for them to then take on a new mortgage, right? So all of these factors combined is actually demand has continued to outpace supply. And just like general economics, that means that prices stay up. So one of the other points that I'm going to go to and show is that this is the graph that shows how prices for single family homes have increased. Look at, since the 1990s, valuations of homes have gone up 386% on average. That is wild to think. So first off, the article here says it's better to buy than to rent. It's better to rent than buy, sorry. But like this graph right now and right here shows, and should be a massive point for you to consider, because look at how much real estate has appreciated. I always say that real estate, you have to buy right, right? You make your money when you buy, not when you sell. So that's why you have to make sure the price that you're buying in is correct. And that's where a lot of people, they got screwed over in COVID, is because, you heard about all of these crazy price increases, $200,000, $300,000 over asking price. And at that time, the writing was on the wall for me. I knew that there was just no way for that type of sustainable growth, and people just were losing their minds. And yes, interest rates were crazy down, but there's just no way that home prices and valuations increased that much. And in Chicago, like I reported before, actually didn't go that crazy. We went up, but we have experienced the best home price growth in the nation this year, because we didn't get crazy, and Chicago was steady Eddie. We kept our heads on straight, and the valuations continue to rise because we didn't overinflate our valuations and prices. Now, there's something called the Bronx exception, where they're stating that it actually is still in New York, because New York Times, it's still a good idea to buy in the Bronx. And there was an interesting ratio that they pointed out here, because Moody's Analytics was constantly referenced in this article, and they said a good rule of thumb is what do they call it here? Is to lean toward renting a less ratio in your neighborhood. The way that they say the purchase price of a house divided by the annual cost of renting is below 18. And they're saying in many cities, the average ratio is now above 25. I actually took a look, and I wanted to see what Chicago was at. And Chicago, on average, is right around the 18 to 19 mark. And actually, for single family homes, it's below 18. For condos, it's right just a little bit above 18. So what does that tell you? In this article, it actually says the Midwest is one of the regions that has shown that it is still a good region to buy in. The show is called Chicago versus Everybody. I always like to point out why Chicago is a great place to invest. And this article, where they're trying so hard to tell you that it is a good time to rent, they've actually pointed that Chicago as a region is a good place to buy. there is still a lot of good opportunities out there. Yes, you might have to roll up your sleeves and you might have to put a little bit of love into the place. It might not be perfect, but the opportunity is there. Interest rates are high, yes, but you can still buy at a decent price. You can get a great deal right now if you put a little bit of money in, and interest rates are slated to go down. So what do you think is going to happen when interest rates go down into the sixes, into the fives? I don't think they're going to go much lower than that. The demand is going to start surging, and the supply is still going to be about the same, and values are going to go up. So that means that if you buy right now, yes, it's going to cost you a little bit more than maybe in the next few months. But if you can ride that wave of valuation as the surge goes up because interest rates come down, then in 6 months you're looking at this really nice valuation growth in your home, and then you refinance out and you get a lower interest rate. My lenders, I'm going to be talking to them at Stonehaven, Billy, and Kyle. They refinance our clients for free. So that is something for you to consider. Again, look at this graph. Look at that, 386% in value growth. That is the other point you have to understand is, yes, if you are only looking to be in a place within south of 3 years, do not buy. I've always said that. If you are going to be in a place for longer than 3 years, ideally 5, then it makes sense to buy, because buying is all about long-term value growth. Okay. So New York Times, thank you for pointing out to everybody that Chicago continues to be a great place to buy. I know that wasn't your intention, and you also love to talk about how we get overpaid, but at the end of the day, New York Times, all right, Chicago versus everybody, we just proved you fucking wrong. All right. Sorry, I don't know if I can be swearing on this live thing, but I get excited. Okay, a fun little practice that I wanted to showcase is I wanted to actually go and show you what is the current inventory and activity right now in the Chicago market, and particularly which units and homes are selling the quickest, right? So this is my MLS. What I did was all of the homes right now that are currently under contract with a minimum of $100,000 or plus valuation, because there's rents would come into this. So I didn't want to skew the numbers with a market time, meaning that they did not last in the market longer than 14 days. So what are the hottest homes right now, and what is selling in the real estate market? So if you're out there to take a look to what you need to be acting on. So just in general, in the entire Chicago market, it's only 265 homes that lasted less than 14 days that were under contract in the Chicago market. Now let's take a look at it. So first off, wanted to give a big shout out 21 North May, which is a new construction project from my boy Tim Sheehan. He just is launching this new construction project. So a lot of this, it's really exciting to see in the West Loop, obviously going, and he is just rocking out all of these top sales. Now it's also a little skewed because new construction, you can kind of say one day on market, even though it's been under contract, because this thing has been built since I think it was 2021. So this thing, they've really been under contract for 2 years, but whatever. It's a fun way to put real estate pricing in a little bit of a context. So just to kind of let's kind of get into some general prices. So okay, a lot of new construction still is selling. I actually I saw this project. It's really, really nice at 4939 North Damien. Let me see if I can get like a good. Okay, so again, this is a nice rehab home. Good lot. Let me see if I can get a building or a home with some good photos. Okay, here's a good one. 3618 North Lakewood. We are just west of Wrigleyville. And let's go through here. So one of the things you're starting to see if you're shopping right now is homes that are nice, they're clean, they're ready, they're move-in ready. Buyers do not want to do work right now. Like I like these finishes, I like these styles, like the clean look, good location, and number one most important thing is priced right. So if it feels right, it's priced well. Don't sit on your hands, because I'm seeing a lot of buyers like, well, I got time. Things are sitting on the market, which they are. There's a lot of places that are sitting in the market. But for the best places, these places, they are selling very, very quickly. Well, this is a little bit of a unique one. I have to imagine this is probably, let's kind of dive into this. It was 557, 58, 15 South May. You are this area right here has been moving very quickly as well. It's a 4-unit building for $557,000. So yeah, this obviously is a great buy. So it's great deals, places that are ready made, good to go. All of that is things to keep your eye on. And if you're out there shopping, make sure you're using, like I said, a good broker that knows what they're doing, and listen to your instincts, and also listen to your broker if they are telling you it's a good buy and they're giving you comps and comparables and explaining to you why. Lean in that expertise. All right. Okay, so let's do a dive into chat with my friend Billy Burns of Haven.
What's up, brother?
Billy,
How you doing?
why y'all grainy?
Am I grainy again? I look perfect on my screen. Can you hear me?
Can you hear him?
I'm here.
Okay. Hold on. Technical difficulties. Good old Chicago versus everybody. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Oh, Billy Burns.
Oh,
I can hear you now.
what's up, brother?
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing good. I got to be honest with you. I had a talking point I wanted to come in here with, and then I got completely sidetracked by your presentation at the beginning.
What'd you think?
Like
Good?
I love it. I mean, you and I have talked about this for the past 15 some odd years about the rent versus own stuff. I mean, look at how you guys got your start. You guys were working with a lot of landlords and renters. So if you're someone looking at the rent versus buy, if I'm doing a transaction for 10 different investors, the majority of those people already have mortgages on those properties. Like if I have an investor that owns 10 finance investment homes, they probably only have 2 that are cash. So that means if you're renting, you're paying off somebody else's mortgage as opposed to you paying down your own mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
So I absolutely loved what you started off with. I thought that was great. And yeah, Chicago versus everybody. Let's go.
Yeah, man. I just, it's like these articles, like, you know, your brokers get paid too much money without any context as to how we get paid, which honestly is on us. Like, this is a conversation that real estate is in general is kind of coming to an aha moment where it's like, you know, at the end of the day, like we need to do a better job explaining our value, right? So like right now, the Vesta team, what we're doing is we're just doing a big like education on how do we present what we actually do. So because people don't know, like, I mean, it's not consumers' faults, right? Like it's
Yeah.
not their job to know what and how we get paid and why we are a part of the transaction. So you're gonna get, you know, these articles from like New York Times that explain to people that, well, look at how, you know, Europe's brokers get paid. I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, it's because you go to the listing broker and get fucked on the price, you dipshit.
Absolutely
Right.
host. Absolutely host.
But
I'm happy you said
so
that.
frustrating because like the news media again is like, oh, this is something consumers are really enjoying. Let's just batter on these brokers who have I've been giving my blood, sweat, tears, life to this industry to give my clients money. I'm an asset to the transaction.
You give back so much too. You invest, do so much for the community,
But
and people
you
need
know,
to see
at the
that.
end of the day, it's like my clients know that, right? People that I've helped make hundreds of thousands of dollars in their
A lot of money.
portfolio, they know that. But
Yeah.
I don't explain that enough. And I, you know, before, yes, I'm a little bit humble and I don't talk about these things, and like I try not to get in people's faces. But like apparently, we're kind of in a fight for our lives here, so we have to. All right, Billy, let's get into real quick. What are we looking at? Interest rates. We dropped a little bit, didn't we?
Interest rates are dropping. So here's something that I just want everybody to be a little educated on. There is something when you get a mortgage called LLPAs, stands for loan level price adjustment. Those are waived for first-time homebuyers or anybody that's making less than $109,000 a year. So if you're in that category, you can get an interest rate in the mid sixes today. Like they have been coming down. So just as a comparison, is if you're a first-time home buyer, let's say your rate is going to be 6.5. If you're not a first-time home buyer, that rate's likely going to be 6.875. So there's like a 3/8 difference in the adjustment being a first-time home buyer
We've
or not.
broken the 7 mark for a lot of cases.
We've broken the 7 mark. Yeah, the only thing that's not below 7s just yet is investment properties. For those people that are looking to invest, for everybody that wants renters. But again, I don't understand that process. But yeah, it's rates are coming down. My personal feel is I agree with you, like I do on a lot of things. I don't think we're going to break the 5% mark, but I do feel that by the end of 2024, we will be in the 5s. We'll be in the high 5s. An article that I read from Freddie Mac's economist at the beginning of 2023, he stated that by 2024 we'll be at 5.5. And so far, all of his projections per quarter have been spot on. So I'm going to go with that.
Yeah. And I've actually seen with this dip and this drop. I mean, there's been a spur of activity, right? So like,
There
and
has
this is
been.
what always happens. We're after Thanksgiving and we're before New Year's. So there's always a time, like a lag time, where everyone's like, "Oh, the market is in disarray, and we're never going to sell houses again." I'm like, "No, this is just
No,
normal economic moves. People are just getting into their post-turkey snooze to pre-holiday cheer, and it's just like December is kind of just like an odd month where Vesta actually
it is.
does sell a lot of real estate,
You guys
more so than
always do in
November.
December. You
Yeah,
guys always do.
but then come January, it's like January 2nd, it's like boom, off to the races. All of that inventory gets sold out,
Gangbuster.
prices start increasing, and people are like, man, I should have bought. I'm like, what? Like history repeats itself, and it's
It does.
happening again. So we're just in this really, I think it's in an opportunity zone where the interest rates are starting to fall down. Prices are still kind of in a place where sellers are really willing to negotiate.
Yeah.
Take it and run with it, guys. I'm telling
Yeah,
you, this is the
especially
time.
this time of year.
Yeah.
And one thing I'd like to go back on that you touched on, like, dude, you brought up so many good points today.
Thanks, man.
Um, yeah, I love your festive sweater too.
Thanks, man.
And
Keep
yeah,
going.
so just keep building you up. So as interest rates drop, and as Greg showed in all the stats, what the home prices have done in Chicago, staying steady Eddie, that there's going to be an increase in it. That now you're going to get sellers that when they see interest rates are in the fives, low sixes, we are going to see people jump. There was a poll, I can't speak to it exactly where it was from, is on one of the housing blogs, that current homeowners said once rates get to the mid 6% range, even if they're currently locked at 3%, that getting back in the sixes will spur them to put their home on the
It's like
market.
enough of that pain is off for them to make that move, because the pain
Exactly.
of your children screaming in your face and you get the other bedroom, you need to do it.
You need to do it. And so buy now. Buy now. You're going to get your deals. The rates are still good. And like Greg mentioned before, they come down. You refinance for free. What's the saying again? You marry the house, state the rate.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, no, it's all good points. Any last minute wise lender thoughts from you, my friend?
wise lender thoughts. Other than just buy now before everybody else gets into the market. I've spoken to a lot of my competition, like just loan officers. You know how you speak with other agents and everything. We all feel that 2024 is going to be gangbusters, meaning that there's going to be a lot more transactions in
It's
24 than
just
there
when
was in
people are sitting
23.
on their hands for this long, like
So
like
get
the
on it
kettle is
now.
starting to whistle, right? Like it's
Get on
about
it
to pop
now.
off.
It is.
Well, I
Get on
like
it
that.
now.
The kettle's about starting to whistle.
I
I'm
like
not.
that. You got to coin that.
I didn't just invent that. That's literally like an old wives' thing.
You didn't invent that. You should have just ran with it.
Billy, we got to get you a better camera so people can see your beautiful face.
I'm in the process of doing that. I actually called up our IT guy before I got on the call for this.
I promise you, Billy's very handsome. Everybody, you got to pixel.
No, I'm not. Don't listen to him. I'm very short and have big
Billy,
ears. It's all
my
good.
man, how was Thanksgiving? Good.
It was awesome. It was awesome. Yeah, Thanksgiving was good, and then the family got sick afterwards, just like the rest of America. So we're all just dealing with that.
Classic.
Yeah.
Classic December, beginning of December.
How about you guys?
Good, man. It was good. It was
Good.
low key, exactly what it needed to be. Watch the movie with the family. It was, was with my closest peeps, the ones that I
I'm gonna
love
have to
most.
touch base with you before next week's call so I can get my sweater game on point with you.
Yeah, look at that. Beautiful.
Let's go. Let's go.
All right, Billy. Love you, brother. Thanks for coming on.
All right. Love you too. Appreciate it, Greg, as always.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
You need your iPhone. Okay. Well, we got to get Billy a better camera, dude. This is it's wild. All right, we're on to my PSA. No. We're on to my taxes. Okay. So one of the things I wanted to touch base on is Illinois taxes. Everybody loves them, but let me just talk really quickly on something that I don't think a lot of people know. So if you're a homeowner, and yes, taxes are going up without a doubt. Like there's this whole thing about the revaluation of taxes in Illinois right now. It's Chicago in specific, and Cook County is crazy. We've seen tremendous valuations in growth and whatnot. But one of the things, here's just an article about it. One of the things you can do, take a look and see if you have your homeowner's exemption. If it's your primary residence, it's where you live, you can immediately apply for a homeowner's exemption. And don't fret if you have been living there for a few years, you can go backwards. This is a way that people are finding thousands of dollars. Go to here. you can go to cookcountyassessor.com/homeowners-exemptions. And you go right here and you apply online, and you can go back as far as 2018. Now, the way that homeowners exemptions work is it's your first full year of ownership. So if you bought anytime in, let's call it 2018, the actual year you can get the homeowners exemption applied for is 2019. Doesn't matter when you close in that year. That year, if you close on that year, the next year is the only year you can apply for it. So however many years that is since you've bought, go online, you apply for it. It's actually relatively easy. It's a bit of a wait, maybe like 2, 3 months, nothing crazy. And then you get a delicious thousands of dollars check in your mail. So if you're looking for some holiday spend and some cash, I just wanted to do a little public service announcement to make sure that you are applying for your homeowner's exemption. Please don't leave this money on the table. And one more little PSA. Today is December 1. Don't get towed. Today is the official parking restrictions for winter has begun. There's a whole zone of if you've seen those, if the snow is 2 inches or higher, you will get towed. That starts today. So please do not get towed. Make sure that you are looking at the sign restrictions as of today, December 1. The parking ban has begun. Please do not get towed. This is kind of like a Chicago tradition of how many cars get towed overnight. Hopefully it's not that many, but there's always some. PSA, please do not get towed. All right, one last and final thing. I'd like to put this article up there. This is something that blew my mind. NASA is looking to send massive 3D printing construction systems to the moon because they're starting to plan for inhabiting the moon. And they're going to be starting over a long period of time building out this infrastructure. And it's like next level crazy, sci-fi stuff. And I was like reading this thing and they're just kind of like, look at this, like literally they're going to be printing like little houses. So with that being said, I would like to be the first to announce Vesta Lunar Realty. We will be selling houses on the moon to you if you want to be moving to the lunar state. So this is super cool, really, really fun piece of information that I read and wanted to share with you. All right, that is all I got for Chicago versus everybody. I hope you took some good information from here. If you have any questions, if you have any thoughts, please send them my way. I'm always more than happy to answer any questions about home buying process. If you have any questions about listing your home, all of that good stuff, that's what I'm here for. Or if you just want to give me some thoughts and some feedback on the information you heard today, I would love for the New York Times editor that wrote that article to reach out, and then we can debate this on live, but probably won't because I made too many good points. Just all my points are just fantastic. Thank you all so much. Have a great weekend, and I will see you